Welcome to NFL World, where the NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And we are going to recap free agency for the AFC side. We'll do another video for the NFC. Let's first begin with the Buffalo Bills, who, outside of the DJ Moore trade, which was an awesome trade for them, I'm going to give it a B. It was a B. They overpaid, in my opinion, for Bradley Chubb. But other than that, I thought they did some really nice things. Obviously, the DJ Moore trade would make this an A. To get a guy like DJ Moore on a team that has little to no receivers, it was impressive. Your best receiver last year was Brandon Cooks and Khalil Shakir. Those are not good enough people. You bring in DJ Moore, pay quite a bit for him, but you got it. You made it work. I like this. I think Bradley Chubb is a good pickup. I just don't like the price that you gave him. I'll give it a B. A B to B plus. Moving on to the Dolphins, whose biggest move, I think, this offseason was releasing of Tua Tagovailoa. That move is going to cost this team $99 million on the salary cap. So they couldn't really do a whole lot of big-time moves. The biggest move they made was Malik Willis, 3-year deal, $67.5 million, which I get, but we're paying a guy a lot of money who's primarily been a backup now he's going to be under a first-year head coach, a defensive coach. Bobby Sloak's going to be the offensive coach. It's a lot going on here. Outside of that, the Dolphins really didn't do much of anything. So I'll give it a C plus, because I can't go higher than that because they haven't really done anything. And I honestly should go lower than that because they signed 2 kickers. And to me, that's the biggest defense you can do. If you sign 2 kickers and 2 punters, that's a problem. So give me a C plus in that range. Patriots. Can this be an A? I know they didn't do a whole lot, but what they did, first of all, they brought in offensive lineman help. They needed it. And they brought in Elijah Vera Tucker. The contract looks like it's like, oh my gosh, why on earth is that contract so much for this player who doesn't play a lot? They put in this contract, if he's not active on game days, they don't have to pay a certain amount. It's like 1.2 they wouldn't have to pay, which is genius. Because they don't have to tag that onto the salary cap. Otherwise, they would have to. They brought in Romeo Doubs. I'm going to assume they did a similar thing. 4 years, $70 million. They needed a wide receiver help after the Stephon Diggs failed experiment. I like this. This is an A, especially when they signed Kevin Byard. I think they need some veteran depth and veteran starting ability, which Byard brings. Moving on to the Jets. They did a lot, but a lot of it was shocking. It's a B minus for me. They brought back Geno Smith. They keep Breece Hall. They sign David Onyemata. They trade for T'Vondre Sweat. They signed Mario Davis, which we'll get into in a minute. And they trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Let's start with the Minkah Fitzpatrick news. They traded for him, 7th round pick in 2026. Then they extended him 3 years, $40 million. He was on his last year, so he wanted an extension. That makes sense. I didn't think they were going to be in the sweepstakes. Maybe if he had gotten released, we could have had that conversation. But obviously, a lot of teams are like, you know what? Let's just wait till he gets cut. The Jets decided to pounce. Another move that was made was the Mario Davis signing, which he's 36 years old. He still plays. He's still an unbelievable player. To pay him 2 years, $22 million, $15 million guaranteed, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. It's also interesting because Mario Davis said he wants to go be on a contender, go and try to win a championship. Otherwise, people call it ring chasing. And then he goes and signs with the Jets. He's 36 years old. Go get your money, young man. Just go get it. Go get your money. Because it's so hard to do. Go get your money. Go do whatever you got to do. But I'll give it a B minus. I thought it was good. Ravens, this is an A. I'll give it an A. It's not an A plus. It's an A because you didn't make a whole lot of moves, but you also signed one of the biggest free agents out there, and Trey Hendrickson. You also brought back John Simpson, who I think is going to help out the offensive line a lot. Falele was not a good choice. That was not a good backup plan if you couldn't bring back Simpson. It didn't work. So you bring him back. You bring Simpson back after a couple years with the Jets. Comes back to the Ravens. Hendrickson, 4-year deal, $112 million. $60 million fully guaranteed. Maximum value of $120 million. He got $27 million. The reason this isn't an A plus is not just because of the lack of moves they made, but because of the moves that they didn't make. They didn't trade for Max Crosby. They got out of that deal, which is completely legal because until the new league year started, any team could back out of a trade if they wanted to. The Ravens chose to back out, whether they claim that Max Crosby failed a physical, which I'm not 100% certain if he did. And if he even did, he had surgery in mid-January. To have a physical or any kind of medical testing 2 months after surgery on a meniscus tear doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But they get out of it. They bring in Hendrickson, basically the same deal. And you help out in the pass rush game. I like it. It's an A for me. Also, a weird thing was that the general manager of the Ravens had a press conference talking about the Max Crosby deal and saying, well, we want both of them. No, they didn't. But at the same time, it was weird because it was known after that they were talking to Trey Hendrickson's inner circle when Max Crosby and his family were still in the building. So who knows exactly? We won't know all the information, but it makes the Ravens look really slimy because it looks really bad because the Ravens, now that relationship broke between them and the Raiders. And if the Raiders choose to trade anybody, they could go, and the Ravens call, they could go and say, nope, we're going to hang up, boom. Or they could go and be like, okay, but it's going to be an extra pick or an extra play. They could do that. Teams have done that before. That's why you don't burn relationships, especially in the NFL. You don't do it. But it is what it is. The business, that's the way it look. That's the way to look at it. But I'll give it an A. Cincinnati Bengals. They did a little work on the defensive line, bringing in Jonathan Allen, Brian Cook, and Boye Mafe. But I'm going to give this a C. It's good. It's fine. You paid a lot for Boye Mafe. But you didn't do anything on the offensive line. Anything. The offensive line that can't keep Joe Burrow healthy for more than a month. Like, come on, guys. You re-sign Orlando Brown Jr., re-sign Dalton Reisner. It doesn't work. The offensive line was bad. Either fix the play calling to give him more protection or give him a better offensive line. And don't say, we're not going to change. We're not going to change what we're doing. We're not going to change personnel. It's dumb. Very dumb. C. Browns. I'm actually going to give the Browns a B minus. I thought it was pretty good what they did. They trade for Titus Howard, who's struggled at tackle, but he is a tackle. The Texans played him at guard this past year. Brought back Tevin Jenkins. Sign Zion Johnson, who's been okay, not perfect, but okay since coming out of Boston College. You bring in Quincy Williams to take over for Devin Bush. I like it. B-. I was impressed. There's still a lot to do, which is why it's not a higher grade, but I like what they've done so far. Steelers. I like what they've done. Brought in Rico Dowdle, the relationship with Mike McCarthy, obviously. Trade for Michael Pittman. They needed a wide receiver. They brought in Sebastian Joseph Day. I like it. I like that they brought him in. Jamel Dean, they brought in. Jaquan Brisker, they brought in. They re-signed Asante Samuel Jr. to a very cheap deal. I like it. It's a B for me. It would have been higher if they would have gotten younger. They didn't get younger on defense. That's my concern. They have a very old roster. But other than that, I like what they did. I liked how they performed. I didn't think it was perfect, but bringing in some of these guys, I thought it helped. I just wish they would have gotten a little more younger. Moving on to the AFC South now. Houston Texans. David Montgomery. Okay, I like that move. They re-signed Trent Brown, and then they bring in Evan Brown. All right. Braden Smith. All right. Then they re-sign EJ Speed after trading for him. Blankenship. They bring in. I'm going to say it's a C+. It's fine. They got to do more on the offensive line, in my opinion, but it's all right. I'll give it a C+. That's my range for them. Some of these grades are not also about the amount of moves you make. It's more about what did the team need? Like, I'll give you an example. Some of these guys were re-signing for the Texans or any team. That's fine, but if it doesn't make you better, in my opinion, then you're getting worse. That's the way you don't stay the same. So I'll give it a C. It's fine. It's all right. Colts. They re-signed Daniel Jones. They re-signed Alec Pierce. And then they really didn't do much anything else. The biggest name they brought in was probably Derek Nottie. Everything else was kind of like, okay, sure. But I'm going to give the Colts, I got to say, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. They did sign Wanye Thomas, who is a backup safety for the Cowboys, but that doesn't do anything for them. To me, this was bad. This one was really bad. I'm going to give it a D. It was not good. Not good at all. I thought they could have done a lot more, and they didn't. Now we go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't sign anyone outside of Chris Rodriguez, the backup running back from the Washington Commanders. He's the only outside free agent they signed. I don't like it. You re-signed everybody. Your team wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible, but you didn't do anything outside of bringing Chris Rodriguez. So I'm going to say it was a D. It was not good enough by Jacksonville. I thought they could have done a lot more. They didn't really bring anyone in to replace Devin Lloyd. So you're betting on the draft, and that's not a place you want to be. Titans. Can we give them like the highest of B pluses? They made a lot of moves, a lot of trades. They trade for Jermaine Johnson, Solomon Thomas. Let's see here. They signed Alontae Taylor. They signed John Franklin Myers. Like, they made some good moves here. I like what they did. I really did. I'm going to give it the highest of B+, because a lot of these guys, Wan'Dale Robinson, a lot of these guys were either had a relationship previous with the previous place that they were. They either played for the head coach in Robert Saleh or with Brian Daboll. And that's what they did, and that's who they brought in. And I like it. I really do. Like Wan'Dale Robinson, that's a Brian Daboll guy. Solomon Thomas, that's a Robert Saleh guy. Jermaine Johnson, Saleh guy. Flop, Daboll guy. John Franklin Myers, Saleh guy. The only one I don't think has any connection with is Alontae Taylor. I think that's the only one. Everyone else they were worked together in the past. Moving on to the AFC West. Broncos didn't do anything. To me, like, it's a B because their team was so good to begin with, but their biggest signing was J.K. Dobbins. That's their biggest signing. Other than that, it's a B. They didn't do a lot, but their team was very good. I'll take it. You also re-signed Alex Singleton and Justin Strenard. So I'll take that. Chiefs, this morning they traded for Justin Fields in exchange for 2027 6th-round picks. Okay, I like that. They signed Kenneth Walker. They re-signed Travis Kelce. They bring in some good pieces on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to give it a B-. I thought it was pretty good. I still think there's a lot to do, but pretty good. B-. Raiders, the highest of A+ you can go. They signed everybody. From Connor Hayward, Jalen Naylor, Tyler Linderbaum, Kwity Paye, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Tyron Johnson they traded for. Like, they went crazy. And then they got Max Crosby back because the trade fell through. So they got Max Crosby back on top of these guys. Yes, they lose the 2 first-round picks, but you did sign Jalen Naylor. So you take that, but I don't know if he's a number 1 receiver. That's a little bit of a concern. But A+ all around for the Raiders. Chargers are the last team. I'm going to give it a B-. It's not bad. Some of the moves make sense. They re-signed Khalil Mack. They brought in Dalvin Tomlinson. Re-signed Trevor Penning. They bring in Cole Strange. They signed Tyler Biadasz. It's okay, but it's a B-, C+ for me. They didn't move the needle as much as I thought they were going to. But it's okay. They did some good things. Let me know in the comments who won free agency on the AFC side. And let me know what was the biggest free agent signing during free agency week. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.